Hi, and welcome to this short video, just giving you a bit of an introduction and a welcome to the Nishkam High School Geography Department. I'm Mr. Vaughan, subject lead for Geography, possibly not Mr. Ruhr as it might say on your screen. I'm just using his laptop to record this short video. I hope it gives you a helpful introduction to Geography, the department, and particularly A-level Geography at Nishkam, and what that might entail for you if you were to choose to do it, or why that might be something that appeals to you as you consider your options for next year. So Geography sits in the Humanities Faculty, and you can see the vision of the Humanities Faculty here, and few subjects are better positioned than Geography really to fulfill that aim, to provide students with the skills and experiences necessary to become global citizens, people who inhabit and use and understand the world that we live in. Dr. Rita Gardner, who was director of the Royal Geographical Society, said this of Geography: "It prepares young people with the knowledge, skills, and understanding to make sense of their world and to face the challenges that will shape our societies, the people, and our environments that we live amongst at different scales, the local, national, and global scales." I suspect if you're watching this, you've probably done GCSE Geography or are doing it. If you haven't and you're just wondering about Geography A-level, that's a conversation we can have if you want to talk about that. But you will know there's a whole bunch of knowledge that comes with Geography in terms of sustainability and development and hazards and physical systems, and then the interplay of these things, which will be important as we look to the future, which is the future that you will inhabit as adults, as my generation kind of move on. But also there's a whole bunch of skills that Geography involves that are useful to you and useful for you to develop, whether you want to be a geographer when you grow up or whatever line of work, and we'll talk more about later, whatever you end up doing. Geography has a lot to offer people in terms of what you do and what you know, and what you can then take into further study and professional workplaces in due course. So this is the department. There's me. I'm subject lead for Geography. Miss Kainth is an excellent teacher of Geography who joined the department a couple of years ago. And Mr. Blackburn, as well as being a Geography teacher, actually oversees the whole of that Humanities Faculty that I spoke about. And there's a real breadth of expertise and experience and specific areas of interest that the three of us have that are able to really support A-level students on their journey through the 2 years of the challenges of A-level Geography. Jimmy Hendricks is not the fourth member of our department, much as that would be fun. So there we are, and I think we're really well placed to support students well as they tackle the demands of A-level Geography. If you were to pick Geography here, you'd have six 55-minute lessons each week, and you'd have a different teacher for the different subjects that you're being taught at the same time, and there'll be more about that in a minute. There's an expectation in Geography, similar to most other A-level subjects, that what you do outside of lesson takes approximately the same amount of time as the number of lessons that you have kind of being taught. So homework. Some of that would be directed by your teacher saying you need to complete this task, write this essay, do this thing. But some of it needs to be work that you are just able to set about yourself to kind of supplement and broaden the depth of your knowledge and of your understanding. You can expect engaging lessons set up in different ways, using different sets of resources to kind of draw out the themes that we might be needed to talk about. And part of that is criticizing or critiquing the information that you've got access to, because increasingly we will see that no one has the complete picture for everything, and we need to be able to be critical about the information that we are using. One thing you can expect at A-level Geography is a specific focus to help you achieve the top grades. There is a marked step from what's required for the top grades at GCSE to the top grades at A-level. A grade 7, 8 or 9 at GCSE will not automatically translate to an A or an A star at A-level. It's not that straightforward. There's learning you need to do to progress in your studies. And two things that we do specifically about that: one, a sense of wider reading. So encourage that wider engagement in the subject outside the lesson. You'll be expected to source some material, to read it, to summarize it, and then to bring it to the lesson and share with your peers what you've learned. And they might be making notes about the key points you raise to add to the information that you're getting from within the classroom from your teacher. Something else as well is developing your written style and extended answers. In your exam, on 3 occasions in 2.5 hours, you will be writing for 25 minutes or even close to 30, depending on your time management, in answer to one question. That's a long essay. It's worth 20 marks. And the skills you need to do that well to the very top level are obviously significantly more than they are at GCSE. And so we deliberately practice kind of extended answers and how to plan and structure and write those, just to enable you to make that step up. There'll be support all the way, but these are things that you can expect to come across at A-level Geography. As you might expect, there's two components, physical and human geography, which might be similar to your GCSE course. And there's elements of choice, but elements of compulsory components within that. So in the physical geography paper, everybody studies the water and carbon cycle. On the human geography paper, everybody studies global systems and governance, which links into those ideas of globalization you might have touched upon at GCSE. And the changing places topic on that paper is more like material maybe I would have covered at university that's been brought down to the A-level curriculum, just to kind of stretch it and expand it and make it more challenging for those of you that do it. It's great though, and we're able, as people who live in a place that is changing, to refer to local examples of that often. Where there are elements of choice, we don't have time to teach you everything, so we have chosen for you what you will be taught, and therefore you're advised to answer these topics in the exam and not choose one of the other ones. But we'll study coastal systems and landscapes, which again will probably build on something you've done at GCSE. And we'll look at hazards, which you've almost certainly done at GCSE. But again, the level of knowledge and detail, GCSE is a great foundation, but there's a whole other depth and breadth of understanding that we need to go to in that. In section C on paper 2, we study urban environments. We live in Birmingham, it's a big urban area. It seems pertinent to study something that we can relate to literally by looking outside of our window in some cases. But they're the 6 topics that you do. And when it comes to the exam, the human and physical geography components are examined in the same way. 2.5-hour exams, you get 1 section on each of those 3 topics in the paper. The total is 120 marks, worth 40% of the A-level each. And in that, you can expect short answer questions of 4 marks, leveled mark questions of 6 and 9 marks, where you get level 1, level 2, maybe level 3. And then extended prose is those essay answers that I was talking to you about, where you'd be writing for maybe 25 minutes in answer to a question. The final 20% is component 3, which is an investigation. Finding stuff out is a really key part of geography. And between year 12 into year 13, you will set up your own investigation. So you might have done one at GCSE where with your teacher in your class, you've gone and explored something. You, based on something you've studied, will go and set up, I want to answer this question. And you'll think about what evidence can I go and collect? How is the best way to collect it? Then you'll get your findings and then you'll analyze those and see, do they match the expectations that you had, your hypotheses? How do they help you answer the question that you've set? You'll write a report containing all that of 3,000 to 4,000 words. It's marked out of 60. It's worth 20% of your A-level. And you will be required to go out into the field, whether it's an actual field or an urban area, and collect some information to do that. So an example topic from geography, this is taken from the coast section. You can see over on the left, this is what the specification that's available online will say about what you need to cover. The first bit, systems and processes. Some bits of that will be familiar from GCSE. You'll see mass movement, you'll see weathering, you'll see erosion, and you might think, oh yeah, I know those. But there's also things there that are going to be new to you, and the level of depth with which you need to explain and you talk about how those things impact landscapes will be greater. Then the middle section, landscape development. Again, if you look carefully, you'll see cliffs, arches, stacks, stumps. Those things might be familiar from GCSE, but there's a lot more there that you need to get your head around and that you'll be talked through. Then the final section, coastal management, it says intervention by humans in coastal landscapes. Again, you might have touched upon that, but the depth and the number of case studies that you'd use at A-level to exemplify actually how complicated this is would obviously be greater. There might be some 4-mark questions, some 6-mark questions relating to some of that. But then at the end, there'd be a question like this. Okay, and this is the long answer question that you might write for 25 minutes on. So for example, no amount of coastal intervention, that phrase from the bottom part of the specification, by people can halt the natural processes, well, they're in the top part of that specification list. And these processes which continue to present potentially serious risks to coastal communities now, and even more so in the future, maybe thinking about the impact of climate change and sea level rise and more frequent storms. There's so many things to put in there, and then you've got to decide to what extent do you agree. And you'd use case studies to exemplify that, and you'd be writing for a significant amount of time to do that. And that's where like your paper is made or lost. If you do good 20 markers, then you've really set yourself an excellent foundation. If you want to see more about like the specification, other topics within it, other sample assessment materials, the website for AQA is down there. The course is Geography 7037. We don't do AS Geography here, we just do A-level. So make sure you look at 7037, which is the A-level side of it. Don't get diverted by AS. There are extracurricular opportunities in geography, and there is a requirement that as a school we provide you with 4 days fieldwork over the course of 2 years. Previously, we've actually teamed up with another school and done an excellent trip to the Dorset coastline, where we've studied the coastal part of the syllabus, at the coast and be able to walk on things and talk about things and take photos of things. And then complemented that with some urban field work in the town of Bournemouth. So a bit of human and a bit of physical. COVID meant we couldn't do that in 2020. As soon as that's back on the table, we'll be looking to pursue that for you guys if possible, or find some alternatives. I've mentioned the geographical investigation that forms your non-exam assessed or NEA kind of piece of writing. And so you'll need to go outside the classroom and do some investigation into that. But we also look for opportunities to get you on webinars or circulate things your way that universities might put on that are helpful. And in the past, we've managed a trip down to London to attend a conference organised by the GA, again, with university lecturers speaking, but speaking into elements of what's the sixth form A-level specification, just to broaden your horizons and get you a different experience of different kind of ways of learning and what university might be like and so on and so forth. So in terms of where geography can take you almost anywhere. The skills you get in geography are hugely transferable, hugely valuable. So there's a list of jobs you might do there. I'm a teacher, and before I was a teacher, I worked in an office in London just doing kind of logistics. But I actually was going to read English at university and changed my mind to study geography, thinking that I might actually go and work in international development for a non-governmental organisation. The possibilities are endless. People I did my geography degree with work in all sorts of things, many of them in finance, in business, in ICT, a lot of them in London. So the options are endless, really. I think you might not yet know. If you do know, then geography will help you get there. But this quote from the GA in 2019, the Geographical Association, geographers are more likely to be employed. And a report by the Institute of Fiscal Studies shows that geography graduates have an above average likelihood of gaining employment relative to other subjects. And they earn more than other graduates, especially females. So geography tackling the pay gap that sometimes exists between men and women in the workplace. And it's one of the best subjects for graduate earnings. And I suppose just whatever your interests or strengths, geography has something to offer you. So in previous cohorts of A-level geographers, I'd have people who maybe would clearly see themselves as scientists doing maths, further maths, physics, chemistry, and then they would argue to a prospective university or a prospective employer, well, I'm a scientist, but geography demonstrates my ability to write at length, to reason, to look at subjective material, to rank and to evaluate, and take in different opinions and work with them, not just the facts. But in the same class, I've got someone maybe doing drama or music or English literature, history, philosophy, and they're saying, well, I'm kind of an art student, but geography demonstrates my ability to be rational, to be scientific, to use statistical analysis, to look at maps and be kind of quite scientific in how I approach a topic or an issue. So it sits nicely in that middle ground and can be a string to the bow of either side, of maybe someone who's more inclined towards arts or more towards science. Geography has something to offer both. So I think that's why I think it's a great subject as you think about your future beyond sixth form. In terms of what we'd expect for you if you did come here, I think you can probably guess most of the things, but we would expect engagement. I've put that first. We don't want you just to turn up, sit passively at the back, make most of your notes, submit half-formed essays on time. We want you to be hungry for excellence and to be intentional about how you approach our subject. You need to be organised because there's lots of it and lots of different parts and different teachers and so on. So your note-taking and your organisation needs to be key. And we do expect, as I've mentioned, that sense of you're here to read around the subject and really immerse yourself in it to be the best you can be. The background on this slide actually is the values or virtues that Nishkam is founded on. You can see them behind me on the wall. They're in every classroom. More than ever at A-level, so many of these things are vital to success, and these would be the things, as you look around that list, that we expect of you. But of what that might be. And so just to leave you with a few student perceptions about what people have said or are thinking, I asked some current year 12s and 13s what they think. I shan't read them all to you, but the current year 12s have been here just over half a term as I record this, commenting on relevant understanding of major global issues, and talking about the enthusiasm and the positivity and the desire that we staff have to help you all achieve your full potential. And then the year 13s, who are maybe a year further into their studies and thinking about what's next. I didn't show them the quote from Rita Gardner at the beginning, but they would recognize the truth of that quote. Understanding the world around us, Kavleen actually said, you won't be the same person after studying A-level geography. I think she means in a good way. And a couple more, you can pause this if you want to read them in detail. But again, a couple of year 13s, the relating to the real world, identifying the breadth of skills Amrit did that it's given her over the course of the year and a half, and they develop the ability of forming opinions and the sense that it complements the other A-level courses, whatever they might be. So feel free just to read through those in your own time and pause it, or the PowerPoint might also be available to you. But I think the students already in year 12 valuing it, in year 13 seeing what a difference it has made to them as they've studied it. So I hope you find that helpful. If you've got any specific questions that you want addressed by myself, you can contact me through the school. Contact details will be on the website. And just to kind of finish, this is generic from Mr. Ruhr, I think, about all the different things. You can find the details you need, application forms on the school website. Obviously, you can contact him if there's other things, non-geography, you want to ask about. But look forward to seeing many of you in our classrooms in September next year for a good couple of years of A-level geography. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye.